Hey folks, and welcome to the Truck King YouTube channel. For 2022, the Mitsubishi Outlander doesn't look anything like it looked before. Yes, the styling changes here are major, but you know what? I think the changes that arrived under the skin are even more extensive, and I want to tell you about it because this isn't exactly just a Mitsubishi anymore. So in this video, we will go over all the specs, all the stats, and then go for a drive, and I will tell you why you should or shouldn't consider an Outlander. Let's kick it off with the walk around, and we'll start by looking at the engine. So what you're looking at here is a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder making 181 horsepower and 181 pound-feet of torque, sent through a CVT, and also Mitsubishi's super all-wheel control system. So now let's close it up and I will show you the styling. So the model that you're looking at here today is the GT Premium. It is fully loaded. That's why you're getting things like those 20-inch wheels and some nice body color and chrome accents. The one styling cue I want to point out, because I think it's pretty unique, is sort of this flat roof line that's right here. Most vehicles are a little more raked one way or the other. This thing has this really kind of flat profile look, and I really like it. Now, I mentioned earlier, this Outlander doesn't look anything like the Outlander looked like before, and Mitsubishi always tries to set the Outlander apart with some, I don't want to call it extreme styling, but it's definitely bold styling. So now I will throw it out to you, the YouTube commenters. Let me know, what do you think? Is this Mitsubishi Outlander good looking, or is it too much? Let me know. Now let's take a look at this second row back here. So I have my two different child seats installed. Over there, rear facing, right here, forward facing. They went in there no problem. This right here is 39.9 or 40 inches of second row legroom. Now there are latch position and there are 3 top tethers in this second row. Now one cool thing about the Outlander, it does have a third row, and I'm going to show you it from the rear because it is really, really small. These are basically just little jump seats, which are only going to be good for kids. So you pull them up. Now on paper, it's listed as 17 inches of leg room, but I mean, I can barely fit my fist in between this seat and the one in front of it. This one could be pulled up a little further if I didn't have the child seat in it, but still be aware, this third row is absolutely tiny, and when you're using it, you're only getting a tiny bit of storage space. This vehicle should not be purchased for its third row. If you got to use it in a pinch, it's nice that it's there. Oh yeah, and there are no latch anchors on the third row whatsoever. You're only getting baby seat compatibility in those 3 seats in the second row. All right, folks, just out for a drive here in the Mitsubishi Outlander. So first things first, let's feel. 181 horsepower through a CVT. And it's not all that quick feeling. I mean, that's partially because that's just not a huge number, and then the CVT too just doesn't give it that sort of immediate power, that immediate throttle response. So yeah, the powertrain it feels like just enough, but it has some of that CVT rubber band experience, and then they do put in paddle shifters here. I just don't feel like they do very much. Like, I'm driving along now, I can grab 2 downshifts down to third. And sure, I guess it does give me a little bit more available power than if I didn't have those paddle shifters, but the difference in the power that it gives you is just, it's so small. So no, I'm not really a fan of paddle shifters on a CVT, and here, they just don't make that big of a difference. Anyway, so that's the powertrain. It's just okay. I think the system that is here that is better than just okay is super all-wheel control. And we're on a perfectly dry day here, which is not ideal for testing it, but even in this corner right here, yeah, just taking off from that stop sign, you can feel it, that mid-corner as you're gassing it, the vehicle starts to rotate because it is actually using torque vectoring to send more power to those outside wheels. Now on a dry day, that doesn't really matter. But if it's sloppy outside and you start coming through a corner and you start pushing wide through that corner, well, Super All-Wheel Control is going to help rotate you through that corner, because it can do things that, frankly, you as the driver cannot do. And my experience with the system is that it's really accurate. It is quick to think and quick to act. Like I said, if we had a snowy, slushy day, I'd be better equipped to test it for you. But even on the dry pavement, you can feel it working. And I think that's just a testament to how good it is and what a big difference it actually makes. Now you've got a few initial impressions. Let's rewind a little bit and let me tell you how this all-new Outlander came to be. So Mitsubishi is now tied up with the Nissan-Renault partnership, and thanks to that, there is some badge sharing going on. So this Mitsubishi Outlander is actually a Nissan Rogue underneath. And let me tell you, for Mitsubishi, I think that's a very good thing. The last gen Outlander was a fine product. There was nothing wrong with it, but there was nothing that set it apart. The powertrains were uninspired. The interior really wasn't all that great. There wasn't a lot going for that vehicle. Well, the Nissan Rogue, on the other hand, has always been one of the leaders in its category. So switching over to such a strong product for your bones is a good thing. And it all shows through here. So I mentioned the powertrain, which is just okay. Great all-wheel drive. Now that is one thing that's unique. Super all-wheel control from Mitsubishi. You're not going to find that on a Rogue, just like the all-wheel drive system on the Rogue won't act the same as here in the Outlander. So there's some small differences, but the basic bones are all the same. And that transfers over to the interiors. So here is the interior on the Outlander I'm driving today. And here is the Nissan Rogue. You can see they're quite similar, and again, I don't think that's a bad thing. This Mitsubishi interior is gorgeous. This quilted leather is soft and comfortable. I like the screen setup up here. It's a nice size. There's a nice combinations of actual physical buttons with knobs and dials, and then the touch screen. I have a fully digital gauge cluster up here in front of me. Really nice, crisp, clear graphics. Even a fun little startup screen and different graphics for all of the drive modes. And they all look really good. Now, all of that comes together to make this interior feel luxurious. And let me tell you, the Mitsubishi Outlander before, frankly, it never felt luxurious. So tapping Nissan and getting access to this platform was definitely a big step in the right direction for Mitsubishi. I want to touch on the advanced safety systems now, because this Mitsubishi does things differently than other brands do. With a lot of lane keep assist systems these days, vehicles like Subarus or Hyundai Kias, they will actually steer with this steering wheel. They'll slowly pull that wheel to steer the vehicle back to the center of the lane. That's not what the Outlander does. If I touch this inside line, what the car actually does, it brakes the opposite side wheels. So the braking of those passenger side wheels slowly pulls me back in line. Now, personally, I prefer this because there's no weird intrusive feeling from my steering wheel. In those other vehicles, Subarus specifically, I feel like there's just too much torque being put on those steering wheels from the computer. I don't want my steering wheel to get pulled out of my hands. I don't want to feel like I'm fighting with the car to keep myself in the lane. This Mitsubishi never feels like that. It never yanks on the wheel, and when you do touch one of those lines, it just nicely, smoothly, and quietly pulls you back into the center of the lane. I think this one is a really smart way of achieving basically the same thing without any of that unnatural feeling in the steering. Now, talking about pricing, this is a top trim model. Here in Canada, this one is going to sell for just a hair over $42,000. Well, folks, that brings us to the end of this video. It is true that badge sharing in automotive has not always been a good thing, but in this case, it brought this Mitsubishi Outlander into relevance and made it competitive even against names like CR-V and RAV4. Like I mentioned, folks, that's it for this one. Please go below now. Let me know what you think of the new Outlander in the comments. As always, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of the channel, and then come back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.